Hello, this is the Selina Ray Show on webseriesnetwork.com.
Hi, this is Lane Momi and I'm with Showbiz Store and Cafe. I'm excited to announce that we're going to be distributing the web series magazine here at our stores in Los Angeles and New York. So please check us out online at showbizstore.com to see where we're at and pick up this mag. It's fantastic.
Hi, I'm Selina, and my guest today is Lorinda Rainwater, mother of 5, and we're going to talk about Lorinda's pregnancies and her unassisted birth. So, Lorinda, welcome.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Nice to see you again.
So wonderful.
Absolutely nice to see you again. Let's just get right into it. We're going to talk about an unassisted birth. I know that you have a term for your unassisted birth, and it's called a venous birth. So I want to talk to you about, first, what is an unassisted birth, for those of us who maybe don't really understand what that is. And then I want you to talk about why you have the name of venous birth, what that is, and how you came about that discovery for yourself. Okay?
Okay.
All right, great.
All right. Unassisted birth is with no drugs and no doctor and no midwife. And
Woo.
yeah, you're your own doctor. You're master of your own destiny. And my daughter, my last birth, which is my venous birth, unassisted, was born right into my hands. So all by myself.
Right.
And a venous birth, how I came to call it that, was during I slowly dilated for a week, and it was orgasmic. And during that week, I had several auditory dreams that I was given all kinds of information, all kinds of talking, and the only thing I could grasp from it was you're having a venous birth, and this is how they give birth on Venus.
Oh, interesting.
So
this was your 5th birth was your unassisted birth.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about the first 4? What about them? I mean, I want to know how you transitioned within yourself of making the choice of having your 5th birth be unassisted completely. So your first 4 were assisted with
a midwife.
A midwife, okay.
And all at home and all in the water.
Oh, in the water, okay. So
all water births.
Okay. Oh, great.
Yeah. Which I just came into the world, was just born knowing. I used to tell my mother when I was young and totally freak her out in the bath that I was a priestess in a past life, and we used to give birth to our babies in the water. And that's before I knew water birth or anything, or hospital births. I learned, how it was done in life. So I've always known that my babies were to be born in water.
Wonderful.
That was natural. And so I just came to know that they don't offer that in hospitals, and so I learned about midwifery, and I actually studied it for 3 years. Okay. And I had this picture, and my dream the whole time that I was studying midwifery was to have a midwife, to have a sister, to have that, that bond of another woman with me. And I didn't get that. So I bless them all because they led me to go unassisted,
Go unassisted.
into my venous birth, which and I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to have experienced. But yeah, they all each in their own way left me disappointed, and I paid for it. Whereas the unassisted birth is totally free.
Right.
In all ways, all areas.
So can you tell me like the history of unassisted births? What you have come to understand with this whole idea of how women, we go from being fully, understanding our bodies and knowing about the birthing process on an instinctual level.
Right.
And now we've come into this time in our Western world to have it fully assisted with drugs in hospitals. Not that I advocate that, if it's a complicated birth, of course we seek medical attention. But our first choices are to have the babies born in hospitals, assisted with a lot of drugs. And I've been, on both sides of that coin, so I understand it. And can you tell me a little bit about what, that transition, what you believe occurred, and how your take on that whole transition from being the goddess, giving birth, and then where we are now. What happened?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it's a question that we need to really look at and really ask ourselves. How did we as women get from being powerful, divine feminine women in the caves who, as you said, it's just instinctual, just something began growing in our bellies, and it grew and it grew and then came out, and we knew that it was here for us to nurture and love. And so how did we come from that power to going into a place where we're put on our backs and we're just screaming for somebody or something to stop the pain for us? It's a completely different mindset from being in your power and and being in control. And I know from studying midwifery when that transition happened, and it's something that also we're not educated. It's not widely available what happened, but when the midwives got taken away and got burned and all of that, that's when we got put into the hospitals, and we got covered with a sheet. And that's when the sacredness and the holiness and the sacredness of women got taken away. And then the doctors that were put in place at that time were war doctors, straight from the battlefield,
Trauma.
into the birth, so really what's going on, and still to this day, even though we know what they did was horrible to all those women and millions who got killed and burned, but the mentality, that war mentality, that practice still exists today.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk now. I think that's a great point, and I think that's, now we're up to this point of now women are now choosing midwifery, assisted births with midwifery at home, and they're also now once again, there's a surge, like a resurgence, right?
Yeah.
Of unassisted births. And so I think it's really important for me, I really want to know, when you make the decision, conscious decision, because we're talking about consciously choosing unassisted birth, not accidentally giving birth somewhere, not that kind of birth, but the kind that you're conscious, you as a woman and with your partner, are you consciously choosing an unassisted birth? When you make that decision, what kind of prenatal care is there something, is there a ritual or like steps that you go through, just like a woman, any woman who's having a baby? There's a prenatal care, there's diet and exercise that help facilitate an easier birth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what kind of, what do you do? What did you do?
Yeah.
To help you facilitate? Because we're going to talk about it, what that birth experience was like for you. But I want to know how you got up to this point. So you take me through your journey.
Okay, well, I personally didn't find out about unassisted birth until the end of my 4th pregnancy.
Okay.
And my midwives at the time told me that there's mountain women out there in the world that think that women who use midwives or doctors to have their babies are pansies. And I, who've had 3 home births, water births, no drugs, feeling very brave, said, "What?"
Right.
And I felt completely challenged. And I thought about my experiences with the midwives, and I was like, wow, I really, if I wasn't at the end of my 4th pregnancy, if I had found out at the beginning, if I had found out about it before my first child, I would have been there. So I was, I went through with the midwives and had my 4th baby, and I was so bummed because I really thought that was my last child, and I was just really bummed because I knew that I could have gone higher.
Right.
And then when I got pregnant with my 5th baby, I knew that I wanted to. And what made the decision for me was I just felt that little ball, and I had that hunch, I think I'm pregnant. So I do readings, and I went to the I Ching and I asked if I was pregnant, and I got line 1 of hexagram 61, and which basically says to go it alone for the most peace. So that confirmed that I was pregnant, and it confirmed, yes, go unassisted.
Okay, so that was your choice then. That was that was kind of the definitive where, okay, you were divinely guided to the process you're now going to go through.
Right.
With
and
this
so
pregnancy.
and for me, because I'm not God, and there's so many factors in childbirth, and I think a lot of it is karmic, and you really do have to have a strong mental outlook. You have to release all the fears, all the preconceptions. For me, you have to have a strong, you have to be spiritually fit. Okay. You have to have faith. You have to have all these things. So I've heard women that said, oh, I had this going on with me, so I had to go to the doctor. That's fine. I'm not here to change anything like that. And for me to work with a woman with venous birth, I would need to do a reading first to make sure that for me to go, yes, go for it, go for it. But I have worked with women, and 2 of them, their babies were transfers, and they were all concerned about it. There's yoga postures that you can do. I did it with my 4th child, and they both have had successful childbirths, and the readings were cool. So I felt like, I can tell these women, yes, go for it.
Right.
The spirits say it's okay.
Okay.
The way is clear. So that's what I go by. But of course, yes, I do the diet. Drink plenty of water.
Right.
I eat all organic. Fruits, vegetables, that's a part too, because we're body, mind, and spirit.
Right.
And so for the mind, I sink my teeth into teachings of Abraham, things like Louise Hay, her book, You Can Heal Your Life, anything that teaches you self-responsibility.
Okay.
So you're looking within, you're looking to yourself, and not to somebody else for something, and that's what makes the big difference.
Okay. So exercise, diet, fresh vegetables and fruit and organic. Try to keep it as pure as you can, right?
Yeah.
And lots of water.
Yeah.
But with the exercises, is yoga the practice that really will help facilitate, that easy unassisted birth, right?
Yeah, but
Is there other exercises?
Even belly dancing.
Belly dancing,
Even
wonderful.
belly dancing.
Okay, great.
Any kind
Great.
of dancing for me, dancing is just so relaxing.
Right.
I'm
It's the movement,
most
right?
calm when
right.
I'm dancing
Okay.
or singing.
Okay.
Um,
So it's movement, and it's basically what all women, whether their births are assisted or not, what they would choose to do to be healthy throughout
Yeah.
their pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So,
All
we're
of that
up
is
to
the
we're up
same.
to you're getting ready to give birth. How long is the gestation period? Because I read somewhere that unassisted births tend to have a different gestational period then. Is that true?
Really?
Yeah.
Really, you've read that? Okay,
Yeah.
because
Tell me about it. Do you know
because,
about it?
like I said, I just found out through towards the end of my fourth pregnancy. Meanwhile, I find out that my mom could have given birth to me like this in 1970. Yeah, women have been doing it forever,
Right.
and she didn't have a good time of it, which means I didn't either. And I'm like, wow, which is why I'm so passionate
Right.
to bring it
Right.
out, because it really needs to be a household name, just even as an option.
Okay.
And do you know, in India, there's no videos or anything on natural childbirth. They actually, look at us and are wondering, why are we so uneducated
Right.
when it comes to childbirth and women things?
Right.
But back to your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Tell me about that, because I want to know. I want to know how long, how many weeks, or how long was your gestational period before you went into labor?
Oh,
I'm so
my
curious
God.
about that. I'm
Oh
so
my
curious
God,
about that.
I was not prepared for this question. I really wasn't.
Do you know? No, I'm curious if you've heard that, because I believe
I experienced it. I have
Okay.
not heard it.
Okay, tell me about your
and
experience.
I have maybe a handful of people that know this. I've kind of kept it like, okay, you got to read my book.
Oh.
And get it, but I will tell you.
Okay, tell me, because
and I guess
now
it's
we
meant
want
to
to
come
know,
out
right,
because
because-
it's true. It's my
Right,
story.
Okay, right, it is your story.
All right, I was pregnant 17 months.
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, yeah, I think there were a lot of things that happened during the pregnancy. It's all through the book. The book is in journal form.
Okay.
So when I had the intuitive hunch that I thought I was pregnant, I thought, I'm going to keep a journal. And
Right.
Hi, baby, I think you might be growing in my tummy. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was documenting this because the spirits, because Venus, because the new earth want to bring us back to the way things were. And one of the things I think when I ponder, what was this all about for me? I mean, yes, to bring back the holiness of birth, and to bring back the pleasure for women, to bring the gentle birth to a child, but there was something also, and it was patience, to bring patience and faith back into the world, because we really don't have that in our culture. People want things fast, and they want people are getting scheduled C-sections because they can't deal with the
unknown.
Right. They can't deal with the well, okay, I got a meeting on Thursday, so we'll do it Friday.
Right. Right.
And they're working their life around that, and it's.
And you're advocating, there's another way. There's another way.
I'm not, but the experience through me, and
Sure.
definitely the universe used me for this. And the thing is too is that even if I did have a midwife, if I didn't go unassisted, there's no way I would have had a midwife that would have worked with me for 17 months.
Right.
Or if she did, she would have been calling me every day.
Right.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and I wouldn't have had that peace.
Okay. So when you first started dilating? Okay, we're up to now. You're 17 months. 17 months, getting ready. You have contractions. You're right. Something tells you that you're getting ready to give birth.
And I like calling them rushes. Contractions.
Okay.
It just a rush really, really describes it.
Okay. All right. So you are having a rush. All right. And you know it's time. How do you know that it's time? Because you're unassisted. So how do you know? How do you know like that you're dilating? How can you tell? And what is the feeling?
For me, that's when it was really orgasmic.
Right.
When I was slowly dilating for that week.
A week. You were dilating for a week. Okay.
Yeah, slowly, and that's when I was having all the dreams.
Okay.
And I mean, I was writhing on the bed. It was, you know, you just feel a whole lot of energy, you know, and you just know. You're just feeling energy,
and it's time.
And you're feeling an opening, you know.
Okay, so you're dilating, and you're married. You have a family. How is this affecting them at this time? Right in that moment where you're getting ready to have this baby. What role does Seth play? Your husband Seth, and your children. What roles do they play in this process?
Well, and I really prayed for this. Enos and Ayla, they were asleep. So my young ones were asleep. When labor actually did begin, we had just put him to bed, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go and meditate, and I just sat down to meditate, and the rush came on, and this time I could tell it was labor. Labor was beginning. It was it was more than just the dilation. So what Seth did was went and started filling the tub.
All right.
Because we had done that so many
times
because it was 17, but also because it was 17 months over that, you know, when I got to my 40 weeks and my due date, and I was small too, but I just thought, oh, you know, I'm having a small baby, cool, you know, it'll come out faster, and I kind of, you know, I thought that was cool, but no, the baby just grew really, really fast. So, yeah, we had a few of filling the tub and then having to empty it. So then it was like, okay, we're gonna wait. So yeah, he just went to filling the tub.
Okay, and was he there during the birthing process? Was Seth, you know, what I mean?
He was still filling the tub.
He
was still filling the tub, and you can see in the birth video.
Okay.
Right as I'm crowning, he's coming over and pouring in some more water, and I kind of move for him, and it is so instinctual, because at the moment when I started crowning and my baby started coming out, I had no idea. I had, you know, the body takes over. The body knows. We just need to get out of the way. We need to get out of the way with our fear and all the what ifs. And what if this goes wrong? And, you know, you still have them. For me, it was like, which is something that we could handle, but, you know, the cord being around the neck. And so, you know, you don't have to be a midwife or a doctor to be able to reach under the cord and get some scissors and cut it. But having the connection to the spirits, you know, I asked them, you know, do I need to be concerned about this? And they said, no, there's no obstacles. Everything is clear. So you're in a meditative state then during this whole process. How long was your labor? You're from the moment you realize okay, now I'm in labor. Right. Not the dilation, but the right. How long did that take? 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours. With only a half an hour hard labor. Wow. The rest was easy. When my baby was actually coming out, I wasn't in any pain.
Okay.
There was
Alright.
no pain, and I go into greater depth of how I do that in my book. You're
Okay.
having a Venus birth,
Okay.
but it's basically there comes a point where it's like I just visualize lightning bolts just going,
Okay.
you know, all
Alright.
around me.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to, instead of screaming and going with that energy, you just need to pull it into your body.
And use that energy.
And once you do,
Mhm.
it stops.
Right. Right.
And the pain stops, and it's totally zen. And I was in complete control. He just poured in some water, and then he was going to get some more, and he thought to look into the camera just to make sure it was still
Right.
rolling, and he thinks to himself, "Is that blood? Is that a head?"
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I'm just, and
Yeah.
at one push, there's out the head. I could have kept her coming out, but I stopped for a second, and then I just pushed her out. Complete control, complete ease.
Are you breathing through this? Is there like a
Okay.
breathing process, like you deep breathing and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
understanding? Because your body does, like you said, your body takes over. So you're, you know, naturally, you know, there's no distractions. Right in that moment, there's no bright lights.
And that, yes,
Yes, there's-
yes,
yes.
yes, and that's
Right.
why women in hospitals, sometimes they'll
Right.
start dilating and things are moving, and then they go to the hospital and it stops. And for me, this is what I think about.
Okay.
When me and my husband make the baby,
Right.
there was no one there micromanaging us.
Right.
There were no strangers walking around the room. There were not the bright lights. There were not noises. There weren't people yelling, you know. And if all that were in place, could I really be fulfilled? Could I really have, how much pleasure would I be having? How much love, you know?
Yeah.
And Ina May Gaskin, it's like, I think the best quote for childbirth
Okay.
and for what's going on. But she says basically that it's the love that gets the baby in that gets the baby out.
Okay.
And giving birth is just as intimate.
Hi, this is Lane Momi and I'm with Showbiz Store and Cafe. I'm excited to announce that we're going to be distributing the web series magazine here at our stores in Los Angeles and New York. So please check us out online at showbizstore.com to see where we're at and pick up this mag. It's fantastic.